And I'll tell you what else jiu-jitsu did. It made me a better comedian.
No way. I'd like to hear how that's true.
Because, well, it wasn't jiu-jitsu as much as MMA, the whole game of MMA. I would see guys in between fights. And it's always the same shit. Yeah, Lee Syed's tough, but wait till he goes up against my right hand. So that's all you're talking about for the rest of your life is your right hand. You're not going to work on an arm bar. Mm-hmm. You're not going to work on a leg kick. You're not going to work on a fucking judo throw. So right there, it opened up my horizons. Like, look how these guys are thinking. They depend too much on one thing. Mm. You can't depend too much on one thing.
Yeah, there's that saying.
Spread yourself out.
You've heard the saying, over-specialization breeds weakness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
With comedy the other day, we had a great conversation here where Dean Delray was saying for a year, he forced himself to go on stage and just improvise. You got nothing but time. You got nothing to lose. Improvise. What do you care? Because that teaches you a different muscle. Mm-hmm. Then for a year, you force yourself to host, even though you don't want to be a fucking host, because hosting teaches you how to control the tempo of a comedy show, how to control the tempo. If this guy sucks, you got to bring that audience back. Just because this guy sucked don't mean you can't let the show go. Now you got to go up there and save that joke, but you already did that joke, so Jesus, now you got to do a better joke. You got to go in between 8 or 9 people or 3 or 4 people. So there's so many aspects to comedy. And the same way there's so many aspects to jiu-jitsu.
The same way there's so many aspects to life.
I mean, it's like everybody praises Bruce Lee. I love him. I love it. I love what he did for me as I was growing up. But if you really think about it, Jeet Kune Do is what we all do. At one point in our lives, you figure out what works for you. We do a complete set of fucking things. You do them the same way every day, and it equals to a certain type of success. I do the same shit every day at the same fucking time. That wasn't taught to me. That's not who I am. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do the same shit every day at the same time. But for me to get to a level where I want to be at, this is what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. I don't give a fuck if your asshole hurts. I don't give a fuck if you sucked 1,000 dicks last night. I don't give a fuck if your back hurts. I don't give a fuck if you don't feel good. This is what needs to be done on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. And,
And when the time comes, when you get that success or whatever you're looking for, what needs to be done is going to change probably as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, listen, getting there is one thing. Staying there is another. Staying at that level in your mind. I've realized now, for me to be a sharp comic on the weekends when I work, I got to get on stage a lot more than when I'm getting on stage recently. I'm a little older. I'm starting to get into that fucking nap age. You need a nap from time to time to put you together. You know what I'm saying? But if it means going to the fourth wall during the week, going to Flappers, just to get an easier spot because it's closer to my house and I have to drive over the hill to Sunset Boulevard and put up with all that stuff, I do that. I might as well do that. Tonight I got local spots tonight. I'd rather do those. I keep myself active.
Mm-hmm. Roy Dean, actually, Roy Harrod, the guy we were speaking about earlier, Roy Dean is one of his black belts. I actually was just at his house this weekend in Palm Desert, and he said something to me, or he didn't say it to me, it was in one of his books called Beyond the Black Belt, and it always stuck with me because it changed my life, actually. Because, I was always the guy who I thought that, anything you wanted to be good at, let's say it was jiu-jitsu or business or relationships or whatever it was, that you could go read the book, do the work, do the practice, and you could earn that ability. And then you can check the box. Okay, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, or I'm a comedy guy, or I'm a great lover, whatever it is, right? But it doesn't work like that. I've realized that what Roy Dean said is, as a man, you're always paying your dues, always. That never stops.
Never stops.
It never. And it was difficult for me to accept that because I thought it was. I thought there was a finish line, right? Like one day I'll have my shit figured out and I can chill out, but it doesn't work like that.
Wow, how scary. A lot of people, a lot of young kids listen to this show, young men. Mm-hmm. And I love that they listen to this show because I want them to know what they're getting, what nobody tells you. Mm-hmm. The shit you got to figure out along the way. Mm-hmm. This is what this show is for these guys. I could look you in the fucking eye and tell you 2 things. Number 1, if both of you thought that at the age of 21, I'd be working as hard as I'm working now, you're fucking out of your mind. And number 2, I didn't even think I'd be fucking alive right now. Never mind working. I'm working harder today, guys, than what I did at 25.
Wow.
I put more hours in a week now than what I do at 25. And don't tell me about going on the road. That's a complete different set of fucking hours. I never thought I'd work this hard. Like, I never thought this is mentally, you know, because there's a lot of mental involved. You do a lot of writing. It's a lot of mental involved here. A lot of notebooks, a lot of pages. The writing alone is 2 hours a day, and you really, some days, don't get nothing out of those 2 hours. You really don't. You're just making joint, you know, unless you're writing like a book that's ready to go. Sometimes I'm trying to write a book and fucking write a comedy routine at the same time, because while I'm writing the book, at least I'm not doing dead air. It's not dead air. I'm not wasting my time. And sometimes I'll go back to that joke and go, ooh, maybe I'll attack it from this way. And that's what also jiu-jitsu has done. It's opened up my thinking avenues. It opens up your thinking patterns. And now you write different types of jokes, you know, because in jiu-jitsu, you can't go full speed all the way. For me, at my age, I got to roll and rest for a minute. Roll, rest for a minute. And I try to do the same thing on stage now. I learned that from jiu-jitsu.
And you find, like, when you take that rest, it kind of, on stage, it kind of builds tension in the audience, and that makes the joke break better.
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Okay.
All those things have, jiu-jitsu has opened up my eyes. That it's made me a way better comedian. It's fucking crazy.